needs. And so he was able to, a conversation he had surrounded, get your kids in a circle and have some conversations. How was the weekend? And it could be something off the ball. Like he's saying beach ball, and on every new color, there's a question. You toss the beach ball and question on the color. It might be what's your favorite color of ice cream. But I think it can be said about your relationship with the teacher, with your class. It's 10 minutes. You stuff the rest of it. And then it's out of where they work. And that you just one of the concrete tools, like answer that question. That's it.
It's kind of backtracking to a few questions ago. How will Fridays work with kids that do sports?
Yeah, you know, and that's like every district. You know, one of the things, for example, what Selkirk did that was very beneficial for them. They just didn't allow any away games on Tuesday nights. Their away games were either Thursday, Fridays, or Saturdays. Yeah, we're still going to have students come in for sports. We're going to have to take them to practice. We don't have, as you know, we don't have complete control over it because we're in a co-op. We got to kind of live by Lynn Ritzville and what they do. I'll tell you what, I'm not as worried about sports. Our focus right now is for our middle and high school students, to provide them with their physical education class at the end of the day. So if they have to miss class at the end of the day, they're going from PE to a sport to begin with. We have the option of providing our high school students with PE credits. I think they can get up to 1.5 of their 2 years of PE help by participating in sports. And that's one of the goals and directions that we're going is we want to increase our percentage of students that are involved in athletic programs. So we want to build that culture. But yeah, it's a logistic and it's just a system thing that we're going to have to put in place. And, you know, but that once again, that's hours for our bus drivers and for different people to be able to provide that on Fridays or on Saturdays. Getting back to one other question too, just back before Devin's question, when we're talking about the reconnections and the relationships. You know, last week at our monthly superintendent's meeting, we listened to the state teacher of the year, and it's just not Monday mornings. She uses the first, she was so adamant about this. The first 10 minutes of her class is every day is connecting with kids. It's not about content. It's about relationships and connecting and making it meaningful. And she says that's every day, every class period, and she says it makes all the difference. So yeah, Monday mornings, Tuesday, Wednesdays, we're all about relationships and connections, and then moving forward with content after that.
I had a phone call just before I came in, and they were adamant about not going to a 4-day week. And he's a retired teacher, and he said that the kids will be hurt because they won't, the days will be too long and they won't learn enough. They'll basically shut down by the end of the day. And that's what's his big concern.
And what is he basing that experience on, Steve?
He's a retired teacher.
A 4-day week or 5-day week?
He's here.
Okay, and so I can't really respond to that. I don't know what his experience or what his background or what he's basing that off of. I know that one of our goals is that we'll maintain data on all of our assessments to make sure that it's not having a major impact on their education. There's a lot of districts that will argue it differently, saying that the attendance has improved so much that it's actually been improvement on academics. I think, and Mrs. Sid can jump in if she'd like, that students seem to adjust to the 4-day school week and the time. I know for a fact that we talk about it a lot. When our staff comes here in the morning, our kids are here way before school starts, and they're usually being ushered out of school at all different times at the end of the day. So they're not rushing home to begin with. They're definitely here still, you know, a lot of them from 3:30 or later. I know today in our meeting, they talk about students that were here till 4:30, 5 o'clock on a regular basis, that they had to, hey, it's time to get going, it's time to go home. So yeah, I know that that's probably a concern. I think you got to keep the data, and I think you got to make sure that you're tracking it and see exactly how how it's impacting and what it's affecting. I know that scheduling, your master schedule, which you have control of, makes a big difference on what classes kids are taking at what parts of the day. But I do know that when we went through the research of the Washington school districts that are on a 4-day week, it's adamant from their staff and their administration that they would not go backwards. They would not go back to a 5-day week even if they had the choice.
I'm a person that went from 4 days to 5 days. I missed it in school. The 4 days, yeah, they might have been a longer day, but having that extra day just to chill out, relax is nice as a kid.
Yeah, and a lot of teachers say the same thing too. That it's extended their careers. It's made them choose to stay on and go longer. It gives them an extra teaching is tough. I know if you haven't been in the profession, it's sometimes hard to really clearly define or paint that picture, but it is a physically and mentally exhausting occupation. I think the 3-day weekend's appealing for a lot of different reasons.
With being with Ritzville, and I mean, I like starting school earlier compared to later, a little later, but they do 2 days, and that 1 week. So what will be the consideration?
Yeah, that's a good question. That one hasn't came up yet. So Steve's looking at August sports, fall sports when they start, and a lot of teams like football, volleyball. They do 2-a-days, and if we start school a week earlier than they do, how will we compensate for our students on either those morning practices? And yeah, good question, Steve. We'll have to, yeah, we'll have to, and it is a good question because right now there's the other 3 or 4 school districts that we have looked at. No, I take that back. Waterville does do an athletic co-op with one other district, at least for middle school, which is different. I don't think they do for high school. So yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to look into, see how we deal with those 4 or 5 days. Absolutely.
And what about the schedule for the kids? Is it going to be like a 7-8 class schedule, or is it going to continue to block schedule?
Yeah, right now, Devin, great question. We got input from the staff on just the successes they saw this year on the block schedule. Yeah, I think you're going to see more school districts going into next year that they've enjoyed the block schedule and will continue down that path. We really got hung up on the schedule for about 2 weeks, and we just talked about it. And finally, it just kind of dawned on me, why are we getting hung up on the schedule? If our real goal is to go to a 4-day week, let's go to a 4-day week. Let's stick with our original 7-period schedule. After the first year, if we see that something works better, we can make a change and go that direction. But right now, we're going to go with a 7-period day. It allows our students opportunity to have some flexibility in the amount of credits that they have to earn for high school graduation. It provides a few more opportunities for electives and opportunities and choice of classes. And really, as we're looking in putting 5 lessons into 4 days, we thought that's the smallest step compared to putting 5 lessons into 4 days and then going to a block schedule and putting 2 lessons, 2 1/4 lessons into every day as we only see students. Our biggest issue, at least mine, the thing that I got hung up on the block schedule was our students are already going to go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday without being in school. So a student that has, let's say, math on Monday and Wednesday would not see it again from Wednesday till that next Monday. Yeah, I struggled with that one a little bit. I wanted to see our kids seeing their content core classes every day of the week, Monday through Thursday.
Okay. Question, what are you going to do on the snow day? Go online, or are you going to go?
Remote learning, yeah, I think that's the focus and the goal and the direction or vision for almost every school district now moving forward, that there's no reason for us to take a step backwards. We're already a one-on-one district.
But I guess I'm concerned there, you're already shortening the amount of time that teachers actually see the kids. Now you could be shortening it 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
In there, if we have a big long winter like we've had.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we look in where most districts usually put their snow days in, it's at the very end of the school year. And we all know it's.
Yeah. Just go ahead and move a couple Fridays.
You could do that. You could move it in. And I think that we saw maybe we looked at something on that on a calendar where one school district did pick to go to school on a Friday if they lost a day during the week. So that's always an option and something that we can talk about. Or you can go to remote learning for the day, or you can put it in at the end of the school year. But I think
mean, remote learning right now, we've been doing 3 classes in one day.
Mhm.
Okay. You go remote learning and doing 7 classes, that's a big load. And because it's all home, and then it's a big load on the parents.
Well, and it is, it depends if it's asynchronous or synchronous learning, you know, what mode you're in, depending on how much homework there is. At Lamont, our kids are synchronous in their afternoons, so they're live with their teachers. They're not on their own doing asynchronous learning. So I think it all depends on what your teaching modality is, and depending on what that day would look like.
Can I ask?
Can you use the mic because you're,
I don't want to speak out of turn on this one, but I want to say that the shift to Friday is very real. Like if that would need to happen, but the agility with Google Classroom, especially in a place where the power goes out on a pretty regular basis, is my understanding. This year we had it happen a couple times, right? It is what it is. But it's really nice to say the school year is going to end here, and it's going to begin here. And we're not going to have a bunch of flex days in there, because what we know is we are using Google Classroom already. We are agile. What we need to put in there. And the concern about 7 versus 3 is definitely a very real concern. But the options are both, like there's an A and B option that are very workable there. A is you shift to Friday. B is you've got a Google Classroom that is very, very capable of being used as an instructional tool in a lot of different ways. That's proven pretty successful for our district, but for a lot of other districts as well. So yeah, and ultimately, what are we talking about? Maybe 4 days a week.
Yeah, it's not much.
It's a small piece, but it's a real piece.
Yeah, that's, we do have kids that don't have internet too, and that's, if there's a snow day, they can't get in because it's a snow day. And
Yeah, so Steve, even at Lamont, that's one of the things that we did in dealing with the kids with connectivity issues, that I had my staff preload their Google Classrooms once a month, and they updated it with whatever content. So if we had a snow day, we went to remote learning, they had to be at home, but they could connect with the school. They already had those preloaded lessons in their Chromebooks that they could do at home that day. Is it live with your teachers? No. Is it the very best option? Probably not, but it's an option.
what the kids think.
I don't know, they're pretty quiet. They're pretty quiet. Friday day off. I know what a couple of mine are thinking, that are going back to school more than 2 days a week here in a couple of weeks. So it wasn't the most exciting news they received today, but it was good news. Guys, input, thoughts?
Just the online doing social care today, that's the only thing I can about. Just because
Yeah, you know, and I agree with you. I think like Mr. Amon said, we hope that's far and few between that would ever take place or ever happen. You know, just up to a month ago, you know, 2 of my children had been out of school for a complete year, and they sat online from 8:30 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon. It's a long day, whether it's 7 classes or it's 3 classes. That is absolutely a long day. So we would hope that it would happen. Very seldom that we ever had to. I mean, how many days did we have this year?
We had 2 smoke days.
Yeah, we did
And
2
one-
smoke days
and one snow day.
One snow day. Yeah.
Question in the chat was about FFA and 4-H. Their Labor Day weekend and managing that piece. We know we're going to be in before Labor Day weekend no matter what.
Can you give him the
It's
mic?
Friday would be awesome. Friday would be awesome.
Okay.
Have a Friday off.
Yeah, so I think the question that Mr. Aiden got in the chat was just how do we deal with Labor Day weekend, FFA events? Actually, this may be more beneficial as students are going to have opportunities on Fridays and Saturdays to travel and go to these events instead of during the week. We know that we're already a district that starts pre-Labor Day, so that's not really going to be an issue. And